Welcome back to Approved AF, the licensing podcast, where we share real stories, strategies, and mindset to help you level up your mortgage business without the chaos. I'm your host, Catalina Stepanoff, and today we're talking with Matt Richardson of Motivation Mortgage, a top producer, a leader, and a new dad who knows a thing or two about balancing discipline, mindset, and leadership. Matt shares how he leads from the front, keeps his team and himself locked in, even when life gets messy, and how he sees discipline as the fuel that keeps you moving forward when motivation fades. You are going to want to take notes on this one. So let's jump in. Matthew, thank you so much for joining me today on Approved AF, the licensing podcast. Give us a quick backstory on who you are and how you got into the mortgage industry. What is Motivation Mortgage all about?
Absolutely. Well, obviously, my name's Matt Richardson. I've been in mortgages now for about 11 years coming here in this October. And like many of us, I got into this industry by accident, kind of stumbled my way into the industry. I was working in another sales job, helping people in a totally different way. And I kind of realized that I was just craving something a little bit more entrepreneurial with better earning potential and a way to help people that is definitely more meaningful. And I had a couple friends that were in the mortgage industry once I saw kind of the work that they were doing and how it can change lives, not just selling a rate, but helping families get into a home, utilize a mortgage as a financial vehicle and create generational wealth. That's when I decided to really hop in. And as far as Motivation Mortgage, I love what we're doing here. From a consumer facing aspect, we really want to be a solutions based lender. So I always say if somebody has the means to purchase a home, we will find the product, the program, and the strategy that is going to optimize their ability to get in that home while keeping cash in the bank and allowing them to continue to put towards their savings goals each month. If they have the drive and the want to purchase a home, but they might need a little help, we're happy to hold their hand, whether it's three months, 6 months, or a year down the road. So really trying to find a solution for every type of person that's in the home. But as you know, clients are only, a piece of our business. The other half of our business is our partners, our realtor partners. And we always say that if we can't help our realtors save time, save money, make money, or outmarket themselves, then we're just like any other mortgage broker out there. So we're constantly trying to find ways to create value for realtor partners that differentiates ourselves and helps them to grow their business and their marketability. So overall, we want to be a unique approach to the mortgage business, both client facing and with our partners that help to actually find those homes for those clients.
That's awesome. Yeah, I've been watching Motivation Mortgage for a while now, and I really like what you guys are doing over there. It's very cool. At Motivation Mortgage, you're not just a loan officer, you're a leader in the company. What does that role mean to you?
Yeah, absolutely. So being a leader is not to me about having a special title. It's about being a resource for those that might be newer in the industry, and helping to show them the ropes, whether it's mentoring a newer loan officer, helping them to understand guidelines, structuring options, asking the right questions to create a relationship with those clients. So I want to lead in a way that can help others, feel like they're welcome, feel like there's an area for open conversation, but also lead by example as well. So that role, to me means keeping myself responsible first so that if I'm helping to teach somebody how to be efficient, effective, and productive in this mortgage industry, that I'm doing everything that's right first and foremost.
Integrity, that's huge.
Absolutely.
So for those who probably don't know, you are a new dad, and
I am.
so this might be kind of an evolving thing for you right now, but what daily habits or systems are keeping you locked in, accountable, and consistent, even when you have life shifts or market shifts?
That's a great question, especially as a new dad that takes care of pickup and drop off, and sometimes has the dual duty when my sweet daughter gets sent home for daycare for a small fever. It's about making sure that you do have some sort of system in place to focus on what your primary tasks for each day. One thing that I always try to tell myself is focus on your business, don't get lost in your business. And so here at Motivation, we do have a general structure about what we should be doing each and every day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, to make sure that we're prospecting our clients that are pre-approved, we're getting touch base with our clients that are in process, we're getting updated along with everybody that's party to that transaction. So it's not regimented. You're regimenting your day for us from 8 to 5, but essentially blocking out a couple hours each day for tasks that we consider non-negotiables.
Mm, I like that. I'm a huge time blocker, so that really does resonate with me. Where do you find that most of the loan officers fall off? Is it that they just don't give enough effort, or they don't give themselves a structure, or is it more mindset?
Well, effort and structure are certainly important. I think having some structure is always good, but I've met and worked with many loan officers that, kind of free will it and can be successful without having a strict structure. For me, it starts with mindset. I remember years and years ago, I gave a wake up to one of my teams that each day you can either tear it up or you can tear it up. And that stands for thoughts lead to emotions, which lead to actions, and which lead to reactions. And so that all starts with mindset. If you have a positive mindset, you have positive thoughts, you have positive emotions, and you're going to be able to take those positive actions, which will lead to positive reactions or results. If you don't have the right mindset, you're first and foremost not going to be able to put together the right effort, regardless of what structure you have. If you don't have the right mindset, you're going to be too focused on the reaction or the results. If you can focus on that mindset, you're going to have the right emotion to focus on those actions, those non-negotiables, which will lead to the reactions and the results that you want.
Wow, I really like that. I haven't heard anybody say that before. I like that.
To Matt Richardson, plug it in. But we've been saying it for so long that now I've internalized it as a Matt Rich original.
Oh, I freaking love it. Um, do you find, like, with that personal philosophy, that it relies more on being disciplined or motivation? Do you think that one is more important than the other?
They're both important. It's tough to say one is more important than the other. Um, I like to say that motivation is the spark, discipline is the fuel. The spark can wear out. We all have days when we're going to be more or less motivated. I know that I am certainly victim to that. I'm much more motivated on a Tuesday than I am on a Monday, and much more motivated on a Wednesday than I am a Friday. But if we stay with our discipline and again, focus on what we know is going to drive our business, those non-negotiables, if you stay disciplined, then your motivation can wane. It can go up and can go down. But as long as you have the discipline to do what you know you need to do every single day, then your motivation is just going to be an accelerator to your business.
As a top producer, how do you choose to lead by example?
It starts with the energy that you bring in.
Mm.
Uh, you know, those days, that we're in office, I might not be having the best day, but it is important that you leave that at the doorstep of the office. Just like when you come home, if you had a bad day at the office, I try to leave all of that baggage and don't bring that back home to my family. So it starts with, leading from the front, putting that smile on and not letting outside factors influence that mindset that we just talked about earlier. But it's also leaving my door open, both figuratively and literally. Letting those know that are newer that I am always a resource for them. We all know in the mortgage industry, it's ever changing. We're not going to know everything. But if you can help to teach those younger loan officers the processes to find the answer, the structure to be able to build out loan options, the proper way to ask the right questions to know what you need to build out loan options, really by trying to create a foundation in an environment that asking questions and providing feedback is always available, creates that environment that allows me to lead with an open heart and an open mind and have those conversations with those newer loan officers. that really help them to grow both as a professional and in their productivity.
Very much a mentor leadership style, like a coach.
Like, yeah, yeah. I've always been a firm believer that you have to like who you work with in order to trust who you work with, and always been a carrot, not a stick type.
How do you find that you best support and accelerate the culture at Motivation?
Um, Working closely with our ownership group.
Mhm.
I know that whenever we have, some things that they're working on behind the scenes, I'm one of the first that they come to get my feedback on. And so brutal honesty. If I find something that's not working, then I'm going to tell them that, it's not working. If I believe that we are doing something that is excelling and that we need to lean into that more, then absolutely. And then maybe being a voice for those that don't have the confidence to maybe speak up in a larger group format. So it's about, again, creating that trust with the upper level to us loan officers within the company as well. One big thing that Tyler talks about, it's not about ego; it's about making progress together.
And it sounds like Motivation is creating a area where they can accept that realistic feedback. They've created like a safe environment that has given you that space to be real, to be truthful.
Oh, 100%. That's the beauty of right now. We're a small brokerage, but we are looking to grow. We're looking to take on, new and producing loan officers, but having the culture where everybody's opinion is valued, and every single thing that somebody does can turn into a company wide, pillar or project or something that we incorporate on a company wide scale.
Yeah. What else do you think makes the team thrive in this industry, just like beyond numbers?
Well, as we know, numbers are very important. They're not everything. Everybody thrives when the numbers are good, but how do you thrive when the numbers aren't where you need them to be? That's the age-old question for any loan officer, for any mortgage company, for anybody that owns a mortgage brokerage. How do you create a thriving culture when we have so many headwinds as we've had for the past, feels like forever now, for the past 3 years or so?
What has the market changed?
Uh, and I think it comes down a lot to do with culture, creating structure, but a structure that isn't so rigid that it doesn't allow people the personal freedoms that we enjoy about being mortgage brokers in the mortgage industry. One thing that we talk about a lot is this job can be fun. The more that you're not in front of your desk, the more that you're networking, the more that you're meeting your clients at the closing table, the more that you're going out and having fun with your clients or your realtor partners during the week, is how you can focus again on what is going to be production in your business and not focus on the numbers and all of the mustard things that can bring somebody down. If you get too lost in the numbers and don't focus on the process and the fun things and the freedoms that we have in this industry, then it's very, very tough to have that right mindset that we keep going back to.
Yeah, and like you said, mindset matters. What is something that you like a mistake that you made early on in your career that then became a turning point for you?
Ah, Well, I've been in this industry a long time, like I said, 11 years. And so there's definitely many mistakes that I made back in 2014, 15. Whenever I call and check in with those clients that I closed the loan with, I always thank them for trusting me when I was still wet behind the ears to get a loan done for them. And that if I did a good job for them then they know I'll do a good job for them now. But from just an originator standpoint, acting like you know something when you don't. I might tell a client that I'll have the answer to 90% of your questions. If I don't have the answer, I'll let you know and I can promise I'll get you the correct answer for it. And so thinking that you can do everything yourself, I guess, or having to eschew a certain level of confidence and not having the modesty to say, hey, I don't know the answer to that. It's a great question. Before I jeopardize your loan, your earnest money, your due diligence, let me find that answer out for you so that we can create an exceptionally smooth loan process. So never try to be the smartest guy in the room if you don't know that answer. And once I was able to embrace, collaboration, being truly honest with the client, if I don't know that guideline to a T, and leaning into that team support, I was able to provide much better service and a much cleaner, quicker customer experience.
It sounds like you operate under an umbrella of integrity and honesty and truthfulness when you're being a leader or when you're doing service with a client. And I think that is so commendable in an industry that is constantly putting out new things to make sure that, fraud and due diligence is actually being met. It's like you're being proactive in those areas, and that's very cool to see.
Absolutely. Um, Experience is everything and perception is everything from a client's experience. So, one thing that I tell my clients is I'm the Smokey the Bear of mortgage fires. I'm going to do my best to prevent them all. They might pop up sometimes. Once they do, I promise you, I'm going to put them out. But if we can prevent them first and foremost, that's gonna be what makes that process a pleasurable one for them. But you're absolutely right. Integrity is extremely important in this. Everybody's online right now. One bad review goes a lot further than 100 good reviews. So we want to do everything we can to make sure that we're creating a positive experience for not just the clients, but the realtors that are involved in that transaction.
So true. Is there something that you used to think, or like a belief that you held on to that you said, this is what success is, that you have now said, I'm going to let that go. That's no longer my measure for success.
When I first started in this mortgage industry, there was a couple loan officers that I worked with, and they are wildly successful, and they are cut from a different cloth because they absolutely had the motivation to work 10, 12, 14-hour days every single day. And they are doing extremely well financially, but especially after becoming a father, put working 24/7 is not something that provided me the same level of return on investment in life as that paycheck did as a result of that. So, now being able to come home and spend that time with my daughter before putting her to bed, having a child in daycare, I get to take her to school. I pick her up from daycare, and then we only have a couple hours before she's asleep. So we really only get a limited amount of time with our children during those youth ages. And so creating a career for myself that I'm able to still take that call at 8 or 9 o'clock to turn that pre-approval around and be available for my clients 7 days a week, but not being forced to be tied to a computer for 12, 14 hours a day, trying to bang out calls, was something that I quickly realized was not a measure of success.
Hmm. You're working smarter, not harder, and you're kind of seeing that those relationships and those moments are too precious to be in front of a screen 24/7.
She's almost 1 years old. I can't believe
It goes by so fast. It
it.
really does. You don't have to enjoy every moment, but, like, be there for the moments.
It's so true.
So, in this 11 years in the industry, have you been able to pick up some red flags that you've been able to spot that you would say, "Oh, that's a red flag for, business or leadership or even in yourself," and that you're like, "Oh, hey, I see this happening. Let me turn things around."
Oh, absolutely. So I guess it's kind of a threefold question. I've been a part of a couple different mortgage companies, and over the 11 years, one thing that I've seen is mortgage companies, especially certain models of mortgage companies, they grow quickly and then they have to shrink quickly as well. And so, one of the biggest red flags that I've seen is chasing volume, chasing growth without a plan for profitability if there is a change in market turn. Because what that leads to is a lot of layoffs for hardworking employees that then, are depending on a paycheck that are no longer receiving that. So I guess that can be summarized, chasing growth or volume too quickly. But in leadership, working with many different leaders, and I love the three leaders that we have here at Motivation, Joe, Carl, and Tyler. But with many leaders, it's talking more than listening, and in the way that they communicate as well. I had mentioned earlier, I always responded a lot better to the carrot versus the stick. So I've been a part of several different cultures where we trusted the leaders. We know that they wanted best for us, but it was a very hard tone, do this, this, and this, and not listening to any of the feedback that the people that they were speaking to were providing through many, many different channels. And some of the red flags that I see myself is when I start to lose that mindset, when I get away from those little bit of time blocking that we do each day, when I get too focused on one small problem and it has me forced other tasks to the next day. And that creates just a domino effect of not being able to focus on what your non-negotiables are each day. So whenever I notice that happening, it's about doing a check. Hey, how did my mindset get a little bit off? What can I do to slow things down, focus back on the basics, and focus on the process, not the results? I think every loan officer that's been in this industry for, several years has gone through those times where they have a lot of self-doubt. I certainly am victim to it because we all want to earn a good paycheck. And when those results aren't where we want them to be, we kind of feel lost. But every time, if you can just focus again on what those small things are, what the process is, the results will then speak for themselves.
So true. How do you encourage your team when you do a lot of mentoring? How do you encourage that growth in others without forcing it?
Um, I'll go a lot to, I guess it'd be an idiom or an adage. But if you give a man a fish, he eats for a day. If you teach a man to fish, he eats for a lifetime, especially in this broker space when we have so many products, so many different lenders, so many solutions for different loans, clients, and scenarios. You want to just raise your hand and answer a question. What's the answer to this? Where should I send this loan? What is this guideline? And you can get your answer very quickly in doing so. But if I can speak to that newer loan officer and say, okay, here's the question, and then show them the different ways that we can find that answer out for ourselves and work through and walk through that problem, then they're going to be able to then take that, internalize it, and grow it and apply it to so many other different scenarios as well. And I guess the question was, how are some ways that I encourage growth? And I guess that answer would be satisfactory for if there is a problem or a question that they have. But in this industry, growth is, also about being able to grow and your ability to take an application, to create sales, to create relationship with those clients. And so when I'm in the office and I might hear one of the other loan officers go through an application that they were done within 5-10 minutes, they didn't create a relationship, pull them aside and just do what I used to do back in the day and spar with them, go through different questions and different scenarios and help them to kind of see what they could have done better rather than tell them, hey, you messed up here, here, and here, but help them to come to that answer themselves.
I like that. So you talk about how a lot of managers or leaders might use the stick rather than the carrot. What else have you noticed managers get wrong when trying to motivate a team, and what have you noticed them getting right?
That's a great question. So it comes down to a lot of how you communicate. Communicating to a group versus communicating to somebody on an individual one-on-one level, I feel like are two very different things. In front of a group, I believe you always need to have that high energy. And I can definitely speak to our leaders, especially Tyler. He comes in and he brings the energy every single day. And those Mondays when we're feeling a little bit slow, it's like he's a jolt of coffee. So he does a fantastic job of bringing the energy. And then some of the things that, I feel that they get wrong when speaking with somebody is, again, not listening to maybe what the problem actually is. Treating, the symptom of what the issue is, that maybe they didn't get this deal because they didn't pitch the right option. Well, was it that they didn't pitch the right option, or was it that they didn't know the processes to look at all of the options? Do they not ask the right questions? So oftentimes the issue is actually one or two steps back. And so if you can take the time to speak a little bit slower and kind of understand how the individual, how the loan officer went through their process, you could diagnose something earlier rather than just a symptom of what was actually a problem at the beginning. So I guess to simplify that is, again, just, communicating on a one-on-one and really understanding the individual that you're speaking with at that time, rather than using that same communication with them.
That's really insightful. If someone is listening and is a producing MLO or a team leader trying to step into more of influence, what advice can you share with them, or like a resource that maybe you've utilized?
Absolutely. Start with service. We recently read a book called The Go Giver. Provide service, provide help without keeping score. I'm a big believer in karma. Everything that you give, everything that you put out into the world, it's going to come back to you in some form or fashion. It's not always going to be at a 1-to-1 ratio, But as long as you're doing something with earnestness, with goodness in your heart, and you're truly doing something out of the ability to help somebody, help a family, help a team member, then that will come back to you. And you don't need recognition for everything that you do. It will be seen if you internalize a mentality of gratitude. And one thing that I always say, Wednesdays, I reach out to my past clients. I call Wednesday my day of gratitude. So if you can, create everything with gratitude and be thankful for the ability to help somebody, that's where leadership really comes from.
I think I'll start trying to implement some more of that Wednesday gratitude into, my personal week, but, encourage some of the team members to do it too. I like that. Where can people connect with you or to learn more about your work and what you're doing over at Motivation?
Yeah, absolutely. We're all on social media these days. I don't know when it started, but if you're a self-producing mortgage loan officer or real estate agent, you're a pseudo influencer now. So I'm not necessarily great on TikTok, but you can find me on Instagram. It's at MATTR_mortgage. You can reach out to me directly via DM or at my email address, mattrich@motivationmortgage.com. Or you can follow Motivation Mortgage on Instagram as well. So if you're curious about a culture-driven brokerage that puts people over profit, feel free to reach out to me or my team here at Motivation Mortgage.
I will link all of that information in the description box below. Is there anything else that you want to share, a nugget or any kind of, influential anything that has made an impact to you?
No, I want to thank you, Catalina. I want to thank the licensing store. Makes my job easy. I just need to know that I need to do a couple CEs per year. That took a lot off our plate. So thank you. Yeah, and if anybody ever has any questions, my tagline is "I make your money matter more with Matt Rich." So I'm here to help everybody, and I really appreciate the time that you've shared here, Catalina.
Thank you so much. That's a wrap on today's conversation with Matt Richardson. Hope you're walking away with a mindset boost and some actionable takeaways. You can find all the links in the show notes below. If this episode resonated with you, do me a favor, subscribe, leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, and share this with someone in your mortgage network who needs to hear it. And as always, if you're ready to grow your mortgage business with less chaos and more clarity, head on over to licensingstore.com. We're here to help. Thanks for listening, and until next time, stay licensed, stay compliant, and stay approved AF.